to all the way over here, which should be 3 over. 3 of the binary triplets. So sure enough, 1, 2, 3. Do you see that? Okay. What that means is that I can't just keep on winding this wire like this. That means it has to go around in the star shape, in spires, before it comes around here, and other windings have to fill in between. That means there has to be a space in between this one and this one. And that's why this coil is wound in this shape. Remember I had in between 1 and 2? Look at all the numbers I got in between them. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 went around from here, 1 to 4, which is the next time around. Remember, this time around, the next time around, it's all the way over to here. And to get from 1 to 4, to have these 2 in between it, how many do I have in between it? 1, 2. So in between 1 and 4 is 6 and 11, which gives me 1, 2, 3. The family number group is, the numbers isn't really what's mattering in the family number group, is that it's showing that everything is separated by thirds. It doesn't matter that a 4 is a 4, a 1 and 1 is, or a 7 is a 7. It's saying nothing more than everything has a phasing, or an energy, a positioning of thirds based on stars and spirals, spires, not spirals, spires. Because this emanation has a sequence order, a phasing, a firing rate, an activation sequence. Real complicated stuff. There's nothing more harder than what I just told you. Okay? But as long as we're on it, and I never get the opportunity to talk about it, I think I'll go to my most hardest for a second.
Can I just ask you one more question?
Sure.
You said that 2 and 7 is the z-axis. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Actually,
that's the only z-axis ever, right?
No.
Oh. 2 and... Okay.
It gets more complicated.
But 2 and 7 is fundamentally distinct from the 1-8 and the 5-4. In other words,
as an axis?
Yeah.
No, let me just answer your question without it being posed, and you tell me where you're driving at.
Okay. I'm not sure. But
what is happening is remember I did that chart with 3 different controls? You still only have 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. You only have the 3 polar pairs of 8 and 1, 7 and 2, and 5 and 4. But in this system, you also have, because everything's in 3s, you also can do a what we call a activation, moment of activation. It's called a stage, activation stage. And each one of those polar pairs can rotate to another axis. Okay. What counts is it can only be those polar pairs. They're only separated by third, and you're changing from one axis to another. And they actually have a sequence order of how they change. And I believe that happens on, if I ever did computer modeling, I would show it, as you have more layers. Each layer would be a different family number, would be another polar pair. Do you follow what I'm saying?
I think I do, yeah.
Okay. In other words, it's a lot more complicated than even we've begun to discuss, but your mind's contemplating all that stuff already. We've all contemplated real complicated stuff. You were very complicated. You're very complicated. Everyone's been real complicated, okay? But this is your first class. But all that stuff is real. It will transpire. It does happen. What is this math really could be said? It's number permutations. And what are we looking at? We're looking at the toroid, which is the ultimate shape for number transformation, for energy transformation. That's why your blood cells are a toroid. This is why everything's based on a toroid, okay? Thus, that means then you can work on your own transmutations, permeations, okay? That's what this math is about explaining. It's how the elements become other elements, and how time moves, and how cosmology is beginning and ends created. We now know this coil is wound in a certain way, okay? But what keeps this coil together? I found that the emanations shoot out in a spiral that's even going over this whole thing that's even bigger. There's spirals over spirals. Here's the doubling circuits we were used to, okay? But here we have, it's really a beautiful chart. First of all, we see it's going 1, 9, 1, 2 going in. Here it's going 8, 9, 1. In the reverse direction, it's going out. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. The pink ones are swirling outwards, so they're decompressing, as the yellow ones swirl inwards, compress. These are nested vortices over the surface of the toroid, like dimples on a golf ball. By their existence, they get rid of crash. It cannot even tilt. There is no tilt in this toroid. It cannot tilt because they're in quadrature. When this 2 and this 2 and this 2 and this family number group's activated, and the other 8 and 5 of the same family number group, the other 7 1 4s are activated, and they're all breathing in and out in such a way, like dimples on a golf ball, or like, I wish I had a better picture, but they're all focused on the center, these nested vortices. In fact, I do have a good picture of it. Nested vortices focused on the center look just like this. Okay? They're vortices focused in the center. Some spiral in and some spiral out. The ones that go in are called a negative vortex or a black hole. The ones that spiral out are called a white hole or positive vortex. Okay? And I figured out how the timing is, how to harness these vortices, these nested vortices. They're very important in superconductivity, and that's why I spoke for Airspace America. That's why I have the most advanced flying machine in the world. Okay, that's why I can get rid of petroleum. Because I know the secret. I don't even need an airplane with wings. Okay? Staggered column nested vortices have the strongest gripping intrinsic strength. And this is just the opposite of DNA. So when I go to DNA, you'll see just the reverse of this. It's real interesting how this and DNA are connected. Because DNA uses the nested vortices in mitosis to do the sister strand unraveling. See, why don't I show you? There we have it.
That's what it should be.
Right. Here's your double spiral helix. Here's our symbol. Remember our doubling circuits are a double. Remember the space for the 396? In microbiology, that's called your major groove. Would you believe that DNA has that 396, that flux field? That DNA is bounded by an invisible field, and that is the source of our genetic coding that determines our evolution, that it isn't random trial and error or haphazard chance. Yeah. Symbol of enlightenment, that's what I call that symbol. And sure enough, you can actually see it if you look inside DNA. You can actually see the shape of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that trippy?